Terima kasih teman-teman dan ibu. Good morning. Today we will present our topic in personality factors. We will see what is the personality factor. Well, first is that the affective domain, or we call it attitude. Affect refers to emotion or feeling. The affective domain is the emotion side of human behavior, and it may be just opposite to the cognitive side. The affective domain involves our feelings, emotions, and attitudes, and includes the manner in which we deal with things emotionally. Just like I said, it is deal with feelings, values, appreciation, enthusiasm, motivation, and attitudes. Well, the development of affective states or feelings involves a variety of personality factors. Feelings both about ourselves and about others with whom we come to contact with. Now we will discuss about the domain that is still widely used today. At first, the fundamental level, the development of activity begin with receiving. Person must be aware of the environment surrounding them and be conscious of situations, phenomena, people, objects. Be willing to receive, to tolerate a stimulus, not avoid it, and give a stimulus their contour or selected attention. Second, person must go beyond receiving to responding, committing themselves in at least some small measure to a phenomenon or a person. Third, the third level of activity involves value, placing worth on a thing, a behavior, or a person. Valuing takes on a characteristic of beliefs or attitudes as values are internalized. Individuals do not merely accept Individuals do not merely accept a value to the point of being willing to be identified with it, but commit themselves to value to pursue it, seek it out, and want it, finally, to the point of conviction. The fourth is the affective domain is the organization of values into system of beliefs, determining interrelationship among them, and establishing a hierarchy of values within the system. And the fifth is individuals become characterized by and understand themselves in terms of their value system. According to Bloom's taxonomy, affective domain there are four major categories in affective domain. First, receiving phenomenon, that is awareness, willingness to hear, and selection, attention. Second, responding to phenomenon, active participation on the part of the learners. And the third is valuing, the worth of value a person attaches to a particular object, phenomenon, or behavior. This ranges from simple acceptance to the more complex stage of commitment. Fourth, organization. Well, organize values into priorities by contrasting different values, resolving conflicts between them, and creating a unique value system. The fifth, internalizing values, has a value system that controls their behavior. The behavior is pervasive, consistent, predictable, and most importantly, characteristic of the learner. Now we will see the affective factors in language acquisition. First, it deals with self-esteem. What is esteem? Well, according to Cooper-Smith in 1967, cited in Brown 2000, esteem is a short. Self-esteem is a personal judgment of worthiness that is expressed in attitudes that individuals hold towards themselves. People derive their sense of self-esteem from the accumulating of experiences with themselves and with others. So there are three general levels of self-esteem have been described in the literature to capture its dimensionality. First, general or global self-esteem. Second, task self-esteem. And the third, situational or specific self-esteem. The second is attribution theory and self-efficacy. According to Weiner and others in 2003 and Dorney 2001 and by William and Burden 1979, describe attribution theory in terms of for explanation for success or failure in achieving personal objective, namely ability, effort, perceived difficulty of task, and luck. Two of those four factors are internal to the learner, that is, ability and effort, and two attribute to external circumstances outside of the learner, that is, task, difficulty, and luck. The third is willingness to communicate. Well, willingness to communicate is also one of the factors of attribution and self-efficacy. According to McLeary et al. 2002, define it as an underlying continuum representing the predisposition toward or away from communicating given the choice. And a number of factors appear to contribute to predisposing one learner to seek and another learner to avoid second language communication. The noted that a high level of communicative ability does not necessarily correspond with a high willingness to communicate. The fourth is inhibition. Well, the most common problem encountered by the learner in the language acquisition process is the learner inhibition. Well, inhibition refers to a temperamental tendency to display wariness, fearfulness, or restraint in response to unfamiliar people, objects, and situations. The fifth is risk-taking. Well, risk-taking is one of the most important features of a good language learner. They accept what they don't know. So the ambiguity of language or communicating. And they focus on what they do know. They don't wait for perfect pronunciation or form. They communicate plain and simple. The sixth is anxiety. Well, anxiety plays a major affective role in second language acquisition. Spielberger in 1983 defined anxiety as the subjective feeling of tension, apprehension, nervousness, and worry associated with feelings of uneasiness, frustration, self-doubt, appreciation, and worry. So the anxiety is one factor in learning the language acquisition. 7 is empathy. Well, empathy is the mutual understanding of the thoughts and feelings, emotions, and viewpoints, and is an important factor in the successful acquisition of the second language. The movement of empathy involves two aspects. One is to understand their own emotions, and other is to identify the emotions of others. And then 8, extroversion. Extroversion is the extent to which a person has a deep-seated need to receive ego, enchantment, self-esteem, and sense of wholeness from other people as opposed to receiving the affirmation within oneself. And 9 is about motivation. Motivation is yet another affective variable to consider that is so central and with and with research foundation that are so pervasive that is deserve as separate category here. So motivation is also one factor of learning language acquisition. So the theory of motivation is various. We can see the various theories of motivation have been proposed over the course of decades of research. So there are three different perspectives emerge. First, from behavior perspective, motivation is seen in very matter of fact terms. It is a quiet anticipation of reward, driven to acquire positive reinforcement and driven by previous experiences of reward behavior. In cognitive terms, motivation places much more emphasis on the individual's decision, the choices people make as to what experiences or goal they will approach or avoid, and the degree of effort they will extend in that respect. So, constructivity views of motivations places as well as individual personal choices. Each person is motivated differently and will therefore act on his or her environment in ways that are unique. But these unique acts are always carried out within a culture and social and cannot completely separated from the context. So this is our presentation about personality factors in learning the second language acquisition. So thank you, and we will wait for your question in terms of these personality factors. Thank you.